Tonight, I have found myself here in notorious Hollywood, California. It's Sunday night, January 11th, 2026. It's about 11:20 p.m., 57 degrees. And I thought I'd take a stroll down to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. See some of the sights. And just see what else I could see along the way. What's up, everybody? My name's Chris Koser. And as I said, I'm here in Hollywood, California. Just taking a night stroll down to the Walk of Fame. See some of the sights along the way. And just see what else I could see with the camera. Point and shoot. And just see what happens. And I'd love for you to come along with me. So let's get to it. Being born and raised over the hill in Burbank, I've been surrounded by everything Hollywood pretty much my entire life. Everything from the Teamsters, the grips, set lighting, writers, producers, editors. Pretty much the whole facet of the Hollywood industry kind of lives and resides in the Burbank area. Blue Star Memorial Byway, Department of Water and Power. You got Capitol Records over there, the Knickerbocker Hotel, all on Hollywood Boulevard, heading east. I think I'm gonna head west towards Chinese Theater, El Capitan, and just see what the camera can pick up. There's a lot of cool stuff to look at down here. That K's been out for a while. I kind of noticed the other night, maybe like a week ago, so at least a week. I don't know how long it takes to fix it, but it's a beautiful sign nonetheless. The Knickerbocker Hotel. As I make my way down to the Walk of Fame, I might chime in with some of my thoughts, some of my opinions. Maybe talk about a little history while we're at it. There's a lot of history that could be told. Hey, little buddy. You don't have a job right now? No deliveries? You're on standby? Well, if you see R2, say hello. You'll see those little delivery robots all over here in Hollywood. They kind of started popping up in like 2020 time, maybe. You also see the Waymo self-driving cars all over the place. The Waymos are actually pretty good drivers, being self-driving cars and all. The Knickerbocker, I think it opened like in the 20s, like 1928 and 1929, something like that. And right down there is the Walk of Fame. That's where I'll be headed. It still seemed kind of busy down here for a Sunday night. I did drive by the Walk of Fame before I got out of my car. And it was pretty busy. It was still happening. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of cool stuff we could see. The only thing lit on that sign is the X. Halifax Apartments. The old Pacific Theater. Not sure what takes place in that building anymore. Man, every time I walk down this stretch of Hollywood Boulevard, you can't help but feel the weight of history beneath these stars. Truly is something else. It's kind of crazy to think about it. 115 years ago, Hollywood wasn't really the Hollywood you see here today. Nevessa Records. A lot of cool record and bookshops along this stretch of Hollywood Boulevard. Pretty much find anything you want. And I'm sure they got Jane's Addiction in there. There's no doubt about that. Or you can even find some Lucille Ball artwork. Alfred Hitchcock, Psycho, The Birds, and many more great Hollywood cinematic masterpieces. And there's still plenty of empty stars left over for anyone else that thinks they can make it here in Tinseltown. All orange groves here, and dusty, dirty, even up to 25 years after the first movie studio set up shop. Hollywood really began right here in this area in the 1910s or something. Really because East Coast filmmakers couldn't do what they wanted to do. They were under the stranglehold of old man Thomas Edison. He really had all those motion picture patents down. They came right here to this little suburb on the outskirts of LA, mainly because of the year-round sunshine and also all the awesome diverse landscapes you find around here. You got deserts, oceans. If you just go up north right by Magic Mountain, you pretty much have the Wild West right at your fingertips. You could film anything you want up there, and they still do to this day. That's a cool little corner apartment. All the lights are out, but has a cool little balcony, kind of wrought iron Spanish. Hollywood's largest costume, wig, and toy superstore. That's an awesome, got the trifecta. Another reason those, the East Coast filmmakers decided to come here to Hollywood, because it was pretty far away from Thomas Edison and his crazy lawyers. Even back in those days, he was out to get those. And what started as a refuge from Edison really became the entertainment capital of the world. Right here in Hollywood, California. A lot of cool bars just off Hollywood Boulevard here. And they all have really cool neon. A lot of ornamental buildings and facades. Really, each and every one of these buildings has such a story. And there is Musso and Frank Grill, the oldest restaurant in Hollywood since 1919. It's a shame their beautiful neon sign is blocked by that tree, at least coming from the eastern side. I'm heading west, so I'll get another shot of that. There's a constant battle of music. You got this guy playing rock and roll. Back there, he was playing some hip hop, and they're all just blasting. Well, I guess that's what you got to do when you're down here on a nightly basis. Truly a cacophony of sounds down here. You can't really make out one song from the other. Musso and Frank, famous for prime rib. They have a really good berry pie in there, boysenberry. Boysenberry, as you know, probably Knott's Berry Farm. You can get a lot of good berry pie here in Los Angeles. And there's the original Michelli's Pizzeria. That's Hollywood's oldest Italian restaurant. There's also Michelli's in Studio City near Universal Studios Hollywood, but this is the original and the first. First Baptist Church of Hollywood. That's kind of near the crossroads of the world. It's just beyond that church as you get closer to Sunset. Well, it's on Sunset Boulevard. Won't be heading down there tonight. Maybe on another video. Truly are blasting the music everywhere you go. It's a battle. If you think about it, by the 1930s or so, it was pretty much commonplace to see household names down here. Even Charlie Chaplin, like at the grocery store, he would just be a regular customer buying milk and bread. Kind of unbelievable. Not so much these days. And here at the Egyptian, Netflix really did an honorable thing by restoring this beautiful theater. It's kind of getting run down. They spent like $100 million restoring it or something like that back in like, I don't know, 2019 maybe. Grauman's Egyptian. Soon I'll be headed to Grauman's Chinese. Now you can go in there, you can buy tickets. They have like movies you can go watch in there now, which is good. It wasn't like that just years ago before Netflix restored it. I've yet to be in there though. It's kind of crazy to think about it. Just, you know, regular stars buying groceries. You see Charlie Chaplin at the grocery store. And I have to believe, even the people back then knew they were witnessing something unprecedented. Just must have been amazing. What a time. The Christie Hotel. They were a pioneering auto parts manufacturing company. Now, the Church of Scientology occupies this building. Not curious about that. They picked up a lot of the historical buildings down here in Hollywood. I think they got the old Hollywood Tower. By then, I think the 1930s, the studio was in full swing. MGM, Paramount, Warner Brothers, RKO, 20th Century Fox. I mean, they controlled everything. Hey, Taco Bell. I think that's new. Newish, I guess. Could be like 5 years old. Oh, it's a cantina too. I think you can get alcohol in there. There goes R2-D2's buddy. Hey, where are you going? You got a delivery. I mean, those studios, they owned everything. They owned the stars, they owned the theaters, and they owned the dreams. The 1930s and the 1940s, man. That was truly Hollywood's golden age. What a time to be around. What a time to witness if you were able to do that. Stars like Clark Gable, Humphrey Bogart, Betty Davis. They weren't just actors. They were kind of like modern mythology. And they'd just be walking around like no big deal. Even Lou Costello. Looks like Snow White has her own cafe. Right next to the Hollywood Wax Museum. Haven't been in there in a while. And the same could be said about Ripley's Believe It or Not. Yep, I knew it. This Taco Bell, you could buy alcohol, and I see the beer spouts right in there. It's okay, little buddy. Doot doot. Later, Coco. Hi, how are you doing? You got it. And Louis B. Mayer, the main man at MGM, said he wanted his stars to be more stars than actors. And it probably worked. Those people became gods. Then in the 50s came television, the boob tube. Everything changed. Really, the industry transformed. Really, Billy Wilder summed it up the best in Sunset Boulevard, 1950. A really good movie. Sunset Boulevard and Billy Wilder, he basically documented the end of an era of Hollywood. Here we are, Hollywood Highland. And that's when pretty much the Supreme Court broke up all the studio monopolies around 1950. And that's when the stars really gained their independence. They were able to go to whatever studio they wanted to work for as long as they were willing to, pay the bill. That's when Hollywood reinvented itself. Then the 1960s brought counterculture, rebellion, and a whole sorts of other antics that made the old people mad. Also in the 1960s, where all the old Hollywood moguls were dying off and retiring. Movies like Bonnie and Clyde, The Graduate, they really broke every rule they thought they knew about filmmaking. The El Hapitan, I guess because of Zootopia 2. I actually saw it with my daughter. It was a good movie. Truly another magnificent theater. You can go in there, watch any Disney movie. And it's pretty, I think they restored it like in the mid 90s. But yeah, it's a marvel. The Walt Disney Company owns that theater now. Just like, well, they restored it in the early 90s, like how Netflix restored the Egyptian. They're blasting that new Shakira song, Zootopia 2. You gotta be careful. And here's Jimmy Kimmel Live. It looks like it's an old Masonic temple here in Hollywood. But they got a full-on studio in there now. The Dolby Theater, now home of the Oscars. And that's where the red carpet will go, right in there. All the photographers. Dolby Theater, now home of the Oscars. And you can come down here and watch it. You can line up on the side, see all the stars walk by. And they have all the movies that won Best Picture lined on those columns down there, which is kind of cool just to check it out. That's okay. Go ahead. Then you get the new generation of directors. You get Spielberg, Lucas, Coppola, Scorsese. And those guys, they weren't just making movies, they were making art. Then the 1970s and 80s, that's when the new future of Hollywood was being born. And George Lucas, he even filmed parts of Star Wars right here in LA. But he was also building Industrial Light and Magic up north in Marin County, which they're still there to this day, making all the magic with, now they're using a lot of digital. Honestly, those are the best times in movie making. Spielberg was making Jaws, Close Encounters. Just a magical time in cinema. Grauman's Chinese Theater. 1971 is when George had his premiere for Star Wars. I mean, those weren't just movies. They were experiences. Something the whole family would come out to. Just a major event. I would have loved to go to opening day of any of those movies. Also, another architectural marvel here, Roosevelt Hotel, Hollywood. I think it opened like in the 20s, like 1926, 1927. What it would be like, you know, to stay in that hotel back then. I think there was an I Love Lucy episode where they stayed there. I'm pretty sure. And if you think about it, in those times, on the business side, that's when the money really started flowing in. The studios, they were making piles and piles upon cash with those epic blockbusters. If I were to come to Hollywood as a tourist, I'd probably make it a point to stay at this hotel. Got to check the rates. Couldn't be more than like the Hilton though, or like the Hyatt. So why not? Man, those are really cool lamps. Roosevelt Hotel, 7000 Hollywood Boulevard. A straight shot view to the Magic Castle. That's pretty cool. Way down there. Right at the end of Orange Drive here, you got the Magic Castle. That's a members only establishment where you have dinner. Magicians will do some magic for you. Another amazing experience here in Hollywood, if you can get the invite. Then right above the Magic Castle is Yamashiro Hollywood, a Japanese restaurant. It's a landmark. I think they call it the Mountain Palace. Nowadays they're offering like Japanese fusion, sushi. They have beautiful panoramic views from up there, pagoda style architecture. All those lights above the castle, Magic Castle. Talk about George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. That's really when the blockbuster era began, transforming Hollywood once again. The studios realized they could make more off one movie than they could off 20. And that's kind of where all that began, with Jaws, Star Wars. Cool movies like that. Some of the greatest movies ever. The Dream Factory became a global entertainment empire. Sonny and Cher. Meryl Streep. Reba McEntire. I think she got a new show now. Those were the days when opening weekend numbers became front page news. Movies weren't just entertainment anymore. That's when movies became events, franchises, universes. I was just kind of thinking about how Netflix restored the Egyptian. Now people think streaming and digital are killing movies. Kind of funny if you think about it. That's exactly what they said about television in 1955. I guess Hollywood doesn't die. I guess it just adapts. Now the movie industry, Hollywood, has globalized. Chinese investors fund American blockbusters. Got Korean films winning Best Picture at the Oscars. Somewhere I read Nigeria produces more films annually than Hollywood itself. Kind of crazy to think about that. If you look around you now, Marvel didn't just make superhero movies. They created a cinematic universe spanning dozens of films, TV shows, theme park attractions, you name it. The Walk of Fame used to represent the center of the entertainment universe. I guess now it represents one vital hub in a global network. Now the rise of Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, other streamers really has created far more content than ever before. Kind of crazy to think about. That's some good advice, Mona Lisa. Will do. It used to be maybe 50 movies were released every year. Not anymore. I guess the question now isn't whether people will watch stories, it's how they'll watch them. In 1962, Walt Disney, right before he announced plans for his Florida project, Disney World, he said the future wasn't about making movies. It was about creating worlds. Kind of hits hard when you think about it. He envisioned theme parks, movies, TV shows, merchandise, experiences.
All
it truly
connected
is
to
remarkable,
storytelling.
this industry, if you think about it. Survived the transition from silent films to talkies, black and white to color. Oh, he called it total entertainment. Disney bought Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars. Not for individual properties, for that matter, but entire mythologies, catalogs, IP. If you think about it, that is Walt's vision realized. This was a set of Cleopatra. I think it sat here for like a decade or something. Also, the set of Intolerance, I guess, is the inspiration. It truly is remarkable, this industry. Survived the transition from silent films to talkies, black and white to color, cinema to television, film to digital, theaters to streaming. There's Mel's Drive-In down there. If you ever go in there, they got a really good cherry pie and apple pie. Which is kind of sad. I truly enjoy going to the movies. It's just a real, organic, human experience that just can't be replicated. I wonder what the next revolution is. It's probably already starting. I think now we're entering the age of immersive storytelling, virtual reality, augmented reality, AI, and possibly whole new languages for the narrative. Imagine walking down this very boulevard 50 years from now. Being able to step into any era of Hollywood history through AR glasses. Really, truly a terrifying thought. AI helping or replacing writers, crafting personalized stories for every viewer, virtual actors giving performances. So as I finish this walk, I'm kind of thinking that these stars underneath my feet don't just honor past achievements. They're marking waypoints, really, to humanity's endless journey of storytelling. Pretty cool. From Charlie Chaplin to Marvel's multiverse, Hollywood has always been about one simple, powerful truth. We tell stories to understand ourselves and our world. And if the future brings virtual reality films, AI-generated content, technologies we can't yet to even imagine, I think the fundamental truth will remain. I think the names on these stars will continue to inspire new dreamers, new storytellers, new magic makers, who understand that in Hollywood, the only constant is change. And the only tradition is breaking tradition to tell the next great story. Maybe that's the real magic of Hollywood, that the stories never end. They just transform, generation after generation. And if you think about it, star by star. Anyways, I wasn't trying to get too deep. I was just thinking about the history, all the greatness, all the broken dreams, all the promises, all the broken promises that you can only, well, I guess you can find everywhere, but here in Tinseltown, it's a real reality. I guess that's gonna do it. Man, I wish they'd fix that neon sign up there. Why is it only the X is working? Maybe because we're in Hollywood. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Maybe like, subscribe if you're feeling adventurous. Have a good one. Chris Coaster, over and out.